I think without further ado, let's just jump right in here. So our story is beginning. Um, oh, Shady Bonsai redeemed by a DM reroll. I'm sorry, Shady. I should have turned off the Stream Elements store. This is a charity game, so all of the rerolls and such can go through the Extra Life page here. I'll take it for next week when I get back on Witchlight. How about that? Your soul is crying. Well, donate a little $5 for the kids, and I'll take your reroll. Yeah, so our story is going to begin years prior to the current community campaign, about 50 years in the past, and we are on the heels of, at that time, unlike in the current times with the woes of the Temple of Elemental Evil, back then it had gotten way out of control, where the forces of Elemental Evil actually had armies that had garrisoned at the temple, and many had taken up outposts and built things like the moat house that got explored and such. And so this is like times of like true military might that the elemental cults and their forces that they had hired on, mercenaries that had joined them, had amassed great numbers. And it was by the time that they had gotten to this point in strength and numbers that news eventually reached the nations of Furiondi and the Archclericy of Voluna, this growing threat that was amassing in the south of their borders. And after, you know how slow-moving action can take, they sent spies, they gathered information about what was happening, and by the time that they had really ascertained the true nature of the threat, it had already kind of come into its own. But nonetheless, they rallied, and Furiondi kind of was like the primary actor in bringing the forces of Voluna down south, and they rallied allies, the Cron Hills that reside very close to where the fields of Emridy Meadows are. They supplied aid such as it is. Even the dwarves managed to poke their heads up from the Lortmill Mountains and send a small force to be able to try to counteract this evil. And it looks like we just got a $5 donation from, it must be from Chris. It says Donovan with a smile. So thank you so much for the donation. I'm going to assume that that's probably a player reroll. So thank you so much. I'm going to put a tally here for Wandering Monsters so I don't forget that boulette that he seems to be calling for. Yeah, so in order to combat this evil, Prince Thrommel of Furiondi has assembled together an alliance of all of these various forces that I've spoken about, and they have built up a military encampment that is collected within several clearings within some of the woods that border Emridy Meadows, roughly a day's travel from where the Temple of Elemental Evil is located. The alliance of forces of humans, gnomes, and dwarves is collectively known as the Righteous Host. And you five have been selected for a special mission at the bequest of Sir Serten, Paladin of St. Cuthbert, and one of the primary lieutenants, generals of this war effort. So your 5 characters that you're playing here, you probably have various reasons why you've come to be a part of this conflict. Maybe you're representing your nation, your people, in this war effort. Maybe you're a local from the Cron Hills, from the area where the village of Hamlet is located, just looking to defend your homeland. You live here, you're going to defend it against this wanton evil that's passing through the area. Or maybe you're simply a mercenary and the Righteous Host is offer you a generous sum of money for your special skill set that may prove consequential in the outcome of this war. As you're coming into this camp, you're looking about. You can see rows upon rows of tents. The smell of humanity is about. Little campfires reside throughout, where the soldiers, the troops of the righteous host, are maybe out making some breakfast or just warming themselves while coming back in off patrol. The roads here, or not really the road, but the whole camp, just it must have rained recently, as the ground is quite wet, and the whole place, the grass is all turned up from all the wagon traffic, and the marching of patrols throughout the area has just turned up all the earth, and it's kind of gives you're feeling it as soon as you walk in. You're in the middle of this big military campaign, and you're looking at the faces of the soldiers. They're all sullen and in despair. In the conversation that you're hearing as you pass through the camp, it's all the talk is about apparently news has broken out, a report about the size of the enemy force. It is being said that they rival the righteous host 3-1. And so in light of this news, you can just see that everybody is feeling hopeless throughout this camp as you start walking through. You'd all been given some kind of invitation that has brought you here to the camp to meet with the War Council. And so you're probably, as soon as you're coming in, there's some sentry that comes to check your paperwork to basically figure out who you are. And as soon as you present your invitations, they escort you right to the main tent, where all 5 of you are kind of congregating for the first time. And sorry, we got another donation here. I just want to check. That was from Chris. And let's see what that was. By the Emridy roll. Okay, thanks, Chris. Appreciate that. Evening the odds a little bit. Anything before we enter into the tent here? Is there anything that any of you want to do? Do you want to stop and talk to anybody? Just general observation questions that you might have as you're making your way to the big tent.
I would just be looking for anyone who was severely wounded in battle or anything like that, Alex. Kind of looking them over.
Yeah, you can ascertain there's a big the tent that you'd be heading towards in the middle of the camp is kind of a suite of tents that are kind of connected. And so that tent aside, there's one other that is maybe larger, but it's just one large canvas tent that looks like it could hold a number of beds. And you can see there are people that are being drugged in and out, or in basically on wagons and such, and being unloaded. And so you're kind of getting the sense, you could see makeshift bandages on some of these people, limbs maimed, and people that are being carted into that big tent. It's probably an infirmary.
Yeah, I would just, if our escort would just let us, I would just kind of walk in there quick, the first person I saw, and just kind of do hit them with a little lesser restoration right away.
Okay. Yeah, you head over there, and maybe take, maybe, what do you think? Maybe 30 minutes or so, casting a little bit of magic, maybe just doing some medicine, bandage up a few folk.
If I could. Yeah. Yep.
How about the rest of you? Any effort that you're putting towards those types of things that come about during war?
Yeah, I think Maja's gonna, as she's walking through the camp, she'll look around and inspect the fortifications. This is kind of her job when she came and joined the righteous host. Maybe give some pointers to the people setting up some of the battlements and things, and give some tips as she's walking by.
Yeah, why don't you give me like a, let's just call it like an intelligence check, as you're kind of dishing out some advice and some pointers.
Okay. See if I can do this. Roll.
Okay.
Oh.
So you're giving out some advice in terms of like how to position some of the outward facing scouts and things like that, and it just seems like you're kind of getting ignored a little bit. It seems like a lot of like the primary folk here are humans of Furiandi and Valuna, and you almost get a sense that they're ignoring you. Maybe you're not sure. You like, maybe your advice is coming off kind of weird, but you're also kind of getting a sense that maybe they're being kind of dismissive of you because you're a dwarf, which probably irritates you quite a bit. As that happens, there's another dwarf that comes up to you and just like shakes her head and puts her arm around you, and she says, "Leave them be. They're stuck in their own ways. They don't listen to wisdom when they hear it. We've been trying to get them to change their tactics all along. We're gonna lose this war if they keep on being as stubborn as they are."
Yeah, and I thought it was us dwarves that were stubborn. Well, when they go out and take their rest, why don't you give it a little fixing?
They go to sleep early, so if we can stay a step ahead of them, maybe we can course correct a bit during the night. How about the rest of you? Anything that you would like to do while before heading to the big tent?
Ethos is just enjoying the moist weather that is in the camp because he likes it wet. So
we don't have to role play through all of it, but more or less, I'm gonna go over to like the downtrodden soldiers, the youngest mainly among them, and try and mainly raise their spirits.
Sure. Give me like a charisma-based check. If you got persuasion, you could add your proficiency bonus to that.
Do
Or
persuasion. Mainly stating that there have been far worse circumstances other people have been in. We're the lucky ones.
Okay. You were looking for some of the youthful folk, and you can find some soldiers that are probably real young, like 15, 16. And they've been sitting here amongst a lot of the hardened fighters, those that had been in some of King Belvor's wars over the years, those that don't have any hope, but you managed to raise their spirits quite a bit, and they take heart that you've come, and you're pledging that you're gonna provide some assistance, maybe to turn the tides. You tell them that numbers aren't everything, and
Worried about numbers? Take out 3 men yourself. That'll even the odds.
And how about is Serum up to anything at the moment? Or Gabe, your
You
character?
have the wrong character.
Oh, Tomaris. Oh, sorry. Yeah, Tomaris is probably gonna be next to the dwarves as they try to give tactical advice, and then they talk among themselves, just with a smirk on his face, like he knows what's going on, but it doesn't take any word to participate in it. And then when it's his turn, is gonna go and find out where the storage of alcohol is located.
Oh, yeah, I see. I updated the other overlay, and it must have messed with this one, so I've got the wrong name here. So, Tomaris, you're a ranger, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Alpha Ranger. Yeah.
Fix that quick. Okay. Why don't you all take like a point of inspiration for your activities here in the camp before you head to the big tent. So you enter into the large tent, and you're instantly warmed by the heat of a fire. It looks like you see that there is a makeshift hearth that has been built up inside the tent and is venting out the top. And here you can see there's a big round oak table that has been improvised in the center of the tent, where maps and charts plotting out various military strategies are on display. A young lad is quickly running about, grabbing some refreshments and laying them out on the table, pulling up some chairs for you all, and filling some goblets with wine to make your time here in this meeting a little bit more hospitable. Behind the table are 4 figures. Oh, we got a donation here.
This magic is wild.
Oh, from Ed. A wild magic surge.
Oh no.
Maybe we're supposed to do that right here in this moment as you're entering the tent. Let's see.
Fireball.
Maybe
We
what
take out all the
happens.
generals
Thanks.
right now.
Thanks, Ed.
It was nice meeting you, generals. It's great to finally be in your presence. Hope nothing bad happens in the next 5 seconds.
Why would you say that, sir?
I don't know. I've been on this earth many, many years. It just seems like the perfect opportunity for something bad to go down.
It's an omen, sir.
Is that what
So-
they're called?
Yes, from where I'm from, yes. Omens sometimes are bad, sir.
So, something odd happens as you walk in, and as you're maybe kind of chit-chatting, you're bumping into each other and recognizing that one another, you're all here for the same purpose, being summoned for a mission. You realize that you're when you're trying to speak, you're shouting at one another, like at high volume.
Why are you yelling at me? Stop yelling at me!
Who's yelling at me?
What are you talking about?
What's wrong with you, samurai, sister?
Thomas, I can't be the only one who's singing this.
No, absolutely. I think everybody's had too much drink already. How about we carry it down a little bit?
Everyone, we're all in the same
Used to having
tent.
people shout at me.
So from behind the table, one of the individuals standing there is a dwarf with a braided dark beard, and he's wearing clearly this like full helm that has embedded in the skull, in the brow of it, like this big ornate emerald. He's got a cloak. He's got the clothing and the dress and style of a dwarf of the Lortmill Mountains. And he comes around and starts shaking all of your hands, and he just says, "Good Stonebones, pleased to meet you. Glad you could make it." And he's just yelling, of course, like the rest of you. "Oh, why is Gert speaking so loud? Oh, Gert's voice is at 11.
Whisper. Maybe we should start speaking in a whisper. Then it'll be of a normal voice.
Oh,
He's yelling at us too. He must be cursed.
no, Gert isn't cursed.
I hope this has no bad repercussions in the future. Us being extremely loud.
And he kind of clears his mouth. Okay, and he's still like pretty loud, but the rest of you aren't. And he is making your acquaintance, and he says, "Oh, the name's Gert Stonebones. I don't know. I said that a couple of times already, but I know that you're the folks Gert knows. I can see it." Gert can see that you're the ones to help us navigate this war. Pleased to make your acquaintance. Next up, you see everyone kind of the other three are humans, male, and they you can kind of see them kind of like side-eyeing one another as Gert is talking to you. But the first man, a human man with a black mustache, slicked back hair, looks like he's probably in his mid-20s, and he has this gaze of judgment on his face. You don't get kind of this warm feeling, like warm welcome like Gert is giving you. And he's wearing some pretty ornate looking armor, gilded and such. And he introduces himself as Viscount Wilfric, Lord of Verbabank. And he says, yes, we are pleased that you were able to make it here. You are the ones that we have heard of. It remains to be seen whether you're the ones that we can entrust this job to. And the another man there, one who looks more like a holy warrior just based on the fact that he's got a shield that has the cross symbol of St. Cuthbert. He kind of shushes Wilfric and he says, enough of this pessimism. This is no way to welcome these warriors, these heroes who have come here to take on our mission. Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Sir Ten, and I am pleased to meet you. Thank you for coming. And last but not least, there's one other person. Probably a person that doesn't need to introduce himself because you all would recognize him as Prince Thrommel IV. He is the leader of the war effort, and he stands before you and gives you a nod. And he gets right down to business. He says, let us not waste any more time. Time is at a premium right now. We have a job for you. Last night we caught an enemy spy. One that goes by the name of Dennick, if we can trust anything that comes out of his mouth. He was lurking in our midst. One of the patrols managed to grab hold of him before he was able to get away, and we have chained him up in a wagon nearby, under heavy guard. Fortunately, he, unlike some of this elemental evil rabble, he seems to have some care for his life, and he's quite fearful of what we might do to him. And he has wisely supplied us with some good information regarding our enemy. We do know, as you've probably heard from the men outside, that the forces that we are to face outnumber us, rival us 3-1. Those are not numbers that inspire a lot of hope, but I remain confident that we have a chance at victory here. For our enemy is undisciplined, untrained, and they're prone to infighting. Only a demon would think to bring together these rival death cults, these unruly gnolls together, and think that they could be some assemblage that could rival us. If we can predict their movements, if we can maybe sow some discord amongst them, we might stand a chance. But we need higher level information, and that is where you come in. We need to find a way to gain a tactical advantage on our enemy. The spy has provided us with information as to the whereabouts of a lieutenant in charge of a large contingent of the enemy's forces. A Gnoll war leader who goes by the name of Narog the Dog King. If we could capture him, kill him, it is certain to set the others into a frenzy to establish dominance to take his place. Such a disruption could buy us some time. Can you do this?
What does this pay, Edza?
As Prince of the nation of Furiandi, I have at my disposal enormous treasury for which to pay. Name your price.
I'm not sure what my comrades would like, Edza.
I did not come here for gold or glory. I came to see a problem resolved.
So did I. I'm here to serve, and that is why I'm here.
Throw in some good Fiorendian red wine and I'm in.
It's a good substitute, I will say that. You have a good choice in beverage.
Well, as it so happens, he goes to a shelf in the room. There's actually a wine rack there, and he grabs one of the bottles and hands it to you and says, "Consider this a forward payment on your continued success." And this is your greater healing potion that Ed redeemed with a donation. So thanks, Ed. So you can add a greater healing potion to your record there. And he says, "Please, these discussions about payment, you need not make up your decision now. Once the war is over, we can certainly head back to Firiandi, where I can make whatever wish you have come true. No need to decide just here. But first, we have a war to win." And Sir Ten steps forward and he says, "Yes. Well, what we've been able to get from this captive is that they have a camp that is situated not far from here, just a few hours away, near a small lake. There's an outcropping of rock where an underground cavern network seems to be where this knoll lairs. There is a camp of an insurmountable number of enemy soldiers, both human and knoll, that are camped outside, waiting for the leadership to make a move. We can't possibly go there with their fortifications and expect to win militarily. We're hoping to send in a small group like yourselves to hopefully sneak past the camp and into the den, where we're hoping that you can either capture or kill this Knoll war leader, and if you can, any information that you might be able to gather about their plans. A war leader like this, he must be getting his orders from the temple. If there's anything, maps, charts, written instructions, you name it, we would gladly take any information you might be able to bring back."
We shall do so. If by any reason a Knoll can actually understand and write down maps. But if we can, we'll get it.
It may be worth your while to go and question this spy, Dennick. He's being held by just outside in a wagon, and he's been interrogated by one of the gnomes, one of the members of the Kron Assembly. Her name is Jeep Jimbleclap. You want to stop by and talk to her as well. I believe she's prepared something that should make your mission a little bit easier.
It shall be done.
And the prince he salutes you and he says, "If there are no other questions, you are dismissed." And
yes,
then you
sir.
Take your leave and make your way outside the camp. Once you're out there, you can see not far, now that you know what you're looking for, there is a wagon that has been brought into the center, towards the center of the camp, where there's a number of human soldiers outside, and you can see there is a gnome pacing about. I got an image of her. I'll pop up here. Kind of a maybe older gnome. And she's got like a wand in hand, and she's not really like casting a spell or anything, but she's kind of using it to like tap out her head, and she's just kind of like thinking, it looks like, and pacing about, kind of muttering to herself.
She's in front of the
yeah,
wagon that's holding.
She's hanging out just outside the wagon.
You must be the miss we are looking for.
And she looks at you and she says, "Oh, are you the ones that old Thrommel said he was sent for?"
That we be.
Well, good. So you're gonna go and meet up with this Noel, the Dog King, or whatever the heck his name is. If that's really what a name. And she's digging around in her satchel, and she starts pulling out these like bottles, these stoppered bottles with sort of this like kind of crystal clear, kind of almost glittery liquid. She hands one of these to each of you, and she says, "Well, that there is a potion of invisibility. You pop that, take down that, you'll be imperceptible to the eye for about an hour or so. Should be just what you need to get past the camp on the outskirts so you can get into the den."
That's awesome. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Edza.
I'm quite familiar with this, and it will come of much use. Thanks.
Well,
Did you have
be
to-
careful with that. You know, if you do anything too much, you interact with things a little too much, you'll become as visible as you or I is right now. That'd be pretty bad for you. You don't want to get caught while in that camp. They probably won't be as merciful as we're being with this Dennick here. They probably don't care to get any information out of you. They'll probably skin you alive right there, just as a gesture of how wicked they are.
Oh, I'm sure. Has this spy given you any more information?
Well, he gave us a lot up front. He seemed quite fearful. He gave us the location of the den, information about numbers and such. But then it was kind of odd thing. He started. It almost seemed like he was kind of talking to someone, or that there was someone else in the room, or maybe he was having a conversation in his head. I don't know. I've seen a lot of these elemental evil cultists, these death cultists. They all end up being a little, well, raving about the end of the world and such. It wasn't like that with him. I don't think that's what this was.
Sounds like he had a mental connection with someone else.
That's what I'm thinking.
Nah.
It was good
Was
while
he-
he was scared of me, but then it seemed like he became a little more fearful of something else.
And was he properly screened when you brought him in? You know, the proper procedures, any equipment or any magic detected?
No, nothing like that. Can't say that I did a true detect magic on him, but we removed all of his gear. It didn't seem like he had anything substantial. I'm be more than happy if you maybe see if you can figure out what's going on.
Boris. And Aja's gonna start walking straight over to where they're keeping the spy, and she's gonna start ritual casting detect magic while everyone else is doing their thing.
Sure. There's like a door, like a chained up door on this wagon where there's a little opening with like three 3 little bars on it. And you can see like a face kind of poking out. And he says, "What does it spell? What are you doing?"
Stay still, young one. I'm just trying to see if there's any magic about you.
Oh. Yes, plenty of magic. You should be wary.
Well, we will find out. In the meantime, you should answer my companion's questions.
I'm done answering questions. No more questions. I've
Oh,
given
so
you
you
all
like
that
us-
I know.
So you'd like us to have you leave now? Is that what you want? To leave?
What are you saying? What do you mean?
I mean, if you're done being useful for us, we have no use for you.
Make an intimidation check.
Oh, here we go.
Exactly what I was going for. Let's see. Intimidation. Oh.
You do have 1 player reroll you could use.
I'm not wasting it on an intimidation roll. I know your sneaky DM tricks.
He just says, "Well, go ahead and do it then. Clearly you think I have something more to offer, or you'd have done it already."
Alex, what does this guy look like? Is that a human?
Yeah, he's a human. He's got greasy black hair, like kind of longer hair. He's got kind of a crooked nose, and he's got these eyes, these big, kind of bulging eyes, kind of like a hawk, almost like a hawk, like looking at you.
Does it give off an area of, physical might? What kind of, what is the
No,
vibe that we
he's
get?
very, almost emaciated, thin. What you were told of him is he's more of maybe a spy or a scout. He was caught by himself. He wasn't with anyone else. He was just kind of lurking about the camp. And so he doesn't look physically strong.
Can I have him if he's no use? I'm kind of on the hungry side.
Here we go again.
You can make an intimidation check as well. A Triton would be a rare thing to see around here. He's not familiar with you. To his eyes, you might be, you might be willing to do that. He doesn't know, and so he's definitely like kind of quaking as you say, "Well, don't eat me. That's no way. That's no way for a man to go."
Give us
Look.
something to make
Okay.
you use.
Okay. All right. Just okay. Look, you're going to go after Narog. That's not going to do it. There's a succession plan already. He's got a concubine that he trusts with all of his secrets, and her name. It doesn't matter what her name is. But she is the one that power will go to her. If you're going to kill Narog, you're going to have to kill her too.
My dear friend, how do you going after him? Like, you seems to presume a lot about who we are and what we're gonna do. You're either very smart or you have the ability to see past events.
Well, it's what we would do. If we had one of you in our clutches, we would try to extract information and figure out how to exploit it. Am I wrong? Is that not? Are you not looking to take out the leadership of the war effort on our side?
I'm not a general. I just execute orders. But I'm impressed about you coming here by yourself, and you show some resourcefulness and some courage. At the very minimum, I'll give you that. Are you coming from that same camp, or where are you based normally?
You know where I come from. I come from the temple.
Oh, none other than. Okay. Can you tell us a little more about the leaders of the temple?
And you see his like head kind of straining a bit, and he's like looks like he's in physical pain as he's just like clutching his head. And he's kind of scratching at his like the back of his scalp a little bit.
You have any idea what that was about, Maja? That was quite interesting.
Because I was
Almost
thinking,
done.
right? You know, it makes sense what you said, right? So the fact that you told us to go in that camp, that to me smells like that's what you want us to do. And I don't like it. I'll be very honest with you. I think you're just feeding us what your masters are telling us.
Who is the?
Why should we trust you?
He says,
So,
I don't care if you trust me or not. You come here, you're threatening to eat me. I'm trying to furnish some information that maybe that outcome doesn't happen. I do value my life, after all.
do you? Perhaps you should tell us who's exerting influence for you then.
It's her, the Lady of Fungus.
That
Is she communicating with you right now?
Not so much communicating, calling me back. And you can see, like, he kind of is kind of continually wincing a bit.
You want to go back to her?
he has to.
It's not really in my hands right now, is it?
You never know. Life is full of surprises.
And,
We might.
Maja, you conclude your ritual casting the detect magic. It's not very strong. There's like a lingering influence of magic on him. You know, you're kind of getting this sense of like kind of demonic influence over him, but it's very, very weak. So it could be what he is saying is true. He's so far away from her that it's only a mild irritant. She's not able to like directly control him right now, but there is sort of a lingering influence on him.
Well, what he says is true. There is some sort of demonic influence over this young man. I think to play it safe, we should probably sever the connection. It may not need to be one of us, but I can speak to some of the wizards in the camp. They can work on his
And
connection while we are gone.
Jimble Clap is right there too, and she says, "Well, I could get to work on that. You don't think she knows what we were just asking him right here, do you?"
That is what I am concerned with. Which is why we have procedures. And she's kind of just eyeing Jeep a little. But it is best that we do not talk about anything, well, of delicate nature around him.
I do have one last question, though. I mean, of course, Danik, if you're willing to respond. Do you know this Narag? You just heard of him.
It's not as if we're friends, no. His reputation precedes him. He is the leader of this war band of gnolls that are in our service, after all. But
what motivates him? Like, what makes him tick?
The love of the kill. He is. Some say he's half fiend himself.
He's a brute.
Yeah, you better believe it, he is. It takes a brute to bring in line so many Gnoll tribes under one leader. That isn't typically their structure. They're not known for having a Gnoll nation. They're family-based. And he's got legions of Gnolls under his command.
You have any idea how he managed to do that? Besides, beating that into their heads?
I don't know. How does any demon warlord keep their folk in line? Fear and reverence for how powerful he is. He is the strongest of the Gnolls, and thus they swear fealty to him. And since he swears fealty to her, that is the way.
If you don't have any other question, guys, I think we got what we need. It's a brute.
Brutes love a good fight.
One last thing. Is there any protections or security measures in place? Things that we should be aware of once we get inside the den?
I don't know so much about the inside of the den. It isn't a place that I've been. I've been to the camp. There are certainly sentries on the outside of the cavern entrance, but then he kind of points to the potions that have been handed out. If you have those, I can't imagine that it'll be too difficult for you to slip in. But if you're going to confront him, it'll be slipping out that'll be the challenge.
Very well.
He says it could be that there are multiple ways in. I don't know the area well enough to know that for certain. I only know the one way. And this is information that would have been furnished to you. You would have been given like a map, like kind of a hand-drawn chart of what they know. And basically, there's a lake, there's this hill that rises up that kind of buttresses the lake, and there's like a entrance to a cave network there, which is surrounded by this huge camp, just tents, and probably hundreds of soldiers there.
Is
both human and Gnoll.
Is Tomiris familiar with the general geographic area that we're talking about, or no?
Let's say, why don't you give me like let's say a history check. Yeah, you've it's not directly in the forest where you're from, but you've traveled the area enough, and this is a place that you've come across before.
Is there a best way to approach this area that I can come up with?
You're guessing under cover of darkness, you could, there's going to be like some terrain cover that you'd be able to come up from, like maybe a little copse of trees or something that you can kind of linger at while you watch the camp, if you want to spend some time watching it to kind of get a general sense of troop movements and patrols and those kinds of things. So you could probably get, I don't know, what's reasonable, like within a half mile maybe, and like see the little burning fires and such that probably exist there to kind of get a scope on it. To get like detailed information, you might have to like send somebody maybe a little bit closer to like scout ahead and whatnot, but yeah.
I will not tell this to you guys now because I don't want you to listen, but I will share afterwards with you all this information.
And let's see, Jenna had redeemed by the players a reroll. I heard that earlier, but we're getting into it, so I'm going to update the overlay here. Thanks, Jenna. Appreciate that. All right. Is there anything that you want to do to prepare in camp here? Otherwise, I'll assume that you're going to head out in that direction and probably find this copse of trees where you can go and kind of scout a bit.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Yep.
Okay. So
how big should we expect this camp if we know how many?
like hundreds. Hundreds. I'll say 500. A number that's so big that I don't know.
Party of 5 couldn't take care of it.
Yeah, you don't want to get spotted.
Is there anybody in the area that knows of these caverns that he spoke of, where they would be located?
Like Tomarus just did a history check to know the kind of the area. This is a den where the gnolls have lived. So even prior to, being built up and being brought into the fold of the forces of elemental evil, probably not, because they'd been inhabited. So anybody that went in there didn't come out if they went scouting, poking around in there. So
I will look around my friends, and Tomiris will do, and if he sees that they're wearing heavy armor, he will quickly just gather some, clothing and stuff, and very, not precisely, but will give them some hint on how to kind of muffle the sounds of the armor or stuff like that. Very quickly, nothing, precise or anything else, but just to make the noise from armor like so audible.
Okay. Sounds good. So you have some discussions about tactics and whatnot on the way. I'm going to move you onto another map. I've got your tokens on there, not to represent where you are, but just so you can see the map. So again, you're some distance away, like we'll say, like, I don't know if a half mile is like a reasonable thing that a person could see a camp from that far. I feel like yes, but I'm terrible with like metrics like that. So you're a reasonable distance away where you're not going to get spotted unless you do something like incredibly stupid. So let me move you onto that map. Like have a wild magic surge happen or something.
Hints?
Don't give Ed
Don't
ideas.
do that?
He might be
Don't do
listening.
All in. What do you mean? For the kids?
It's for the kids.
All right. Okay, so is this kind of loading up okay for y'all?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Maybe I have to...
Now it is. Now it's loading.
Okay.
Now it's loading, yeah.
So it takes you like 4 hours to get to this location. You had... Oh, by the time you get done with like the interrogation and the meeting and everything, it was probably like... Maybe we'll say noon, like you head out shortly after noon. And so you get there kind of around dinner time. You get to your little scout spot that you... all kind of make yourself scarce inside this copse of trees a distance away. You can see now, like off in the distance, just as the directions, the map that you have kind of detailed, there are there are dozens upon dozens of crude tents and makeshift huts that have been built up right on top of this steep kind of grass-covered hill, rather the base of this grass-covered hill. And you can see the numbers in the camp, indeed, probably hundreds. It's a mixture, probably almost an even split, maybe like 60% gnoll, 40% human. that are moving about throughout the camp. And there's right in front of the mouth of the cavern, there's this like big fire pit that has several charred pigs are roasting, and there's a couple of gnolls there kind of turning the food around as the embers rise into the air. There's kind of a smell of the camp kind of wafts even in your direction. Just the cooking, the filth, all of it. And there's still daylight out as you come. It's a crisp spring day, quite cool. And so outside, many of the tents are huddled together, gnolls or humans, kind of trying to get some warmth off their campfires. And then you can see at the back, there's a cavern entrance right here, where there are 2 armored guards. They look human, both with pikes and shields up and in full plate.
It's still light, so I would probably recommend we do some scouting for a couple of hours, and then we only make a move after sunset.
Yeah, I would just let the rest of them know. You would see that I'm in chainmail and stuff, so I definitely wouldn't be very good for stealthing around.
I'm not one to, how we put it, enter like a thief. It's not really in my code. As he's like has a fairly nicely ordained set of armor that he's wearing. But it's what the mission calls for, so can be stretched a little bit.
If it helps, you can challenge them on the way out.
Thank you. That would make me extremely happy. I'd do it now, but that would jeopardize everything, but next time.
Hey, Corey, thanks for the subscription. So, what would you all like to do?
Where are we located on the map?
Again, you're not on the map. You're some distance away. You're looking at the scene. I have to put your tokens on the map to allow you to see the map. So. Something just happened here.
10 German marks rerolls. This plague of players has gone on too long.
Oh, it looks like 10 DM rerolls from Corey. Thanks, Corey.
Nice.
How am I going to use those?
Yeah.
Nice.
Get 10 monsters.
Yeah. I guess Vern would just be just wondering what our game plan is here. Like how are we going to get into this cavern? What are we going to use the invisibility potions, or do we want? There
was other ways in. Perhaps maybe somewhere from top of it.
Well, I think we would need someone to scout. Yes.
Well, that would be my job, I think.
Based on the gigantic smirk on your face, I can tell you're looking forward to this.
You know me too well. Anyone else want to participate, or you just want me to go on my own and report back?
I have nothing of value to contribute to a scouting effort. Except a bow. That's about all I got.
Nor I.
Okay, then if you trust me, I'll start scouting as broadly as possible, Alex, to begin, like not trying to get into, right? But just going on the outskirts and kind of mapping a little bit better the situation.
Okay. Go ahead and give me a stealth check.
Yes, makes perfect sense.
Inspiration and rerolls if need be.
We have inspiration too.
Yeah, I think I gotta roll that.
Use one of the rerolls, yes.
What happened?
Okay. So, as you're scouting about, also give me a survival check.
Does this count as forest, Alex?
I would say this is more grasslands or
Okay, I got grassland and forest, so I'll basically that gives me advantage. I'll just roll the only the survival though. I don't think the stealth would qualify. But anyway, it doesn't matter.
So, you go and you're kind of scouting around the perimeter. I just have to look. Because you're going to be at the mercy of passive perceptions. Oh, okay. As you're scouting about, why don't you also give me a perception check?
Coming.
Okay.
Better.
So you start, you kind of make your way to like, I don't know, the kind of like the eastern side of this hill and are kind of creeping along there. Maybe trying to get around the hill to see if you can scout. Is there anything behind it or, whatever. And you hear a sentry from the camp call out, "Hey, I think I saw something." And you can hear that there's like kind of like a rallying call of a patrol. And you get this feeling that they spotted you and are coming in your direction pretty promptly.
Okay, I will move fast then. Give me a second. If I have pass without trace, what does it do? Is you any protection? Okay, so I'll go on and cast pass without trace on myself.
Okay.
Let me cast it because that should help. So for the duration, each creature you choose, basically me in this case, has +10 to stealth and can't be tracked except by magic. So I'm boosting myself. That's the only thing I can do at this point.
All right. I don't think you really need to do a roll because with the +10, you're going to be able to beat them out with this. So I'm going to say you expend the spell slot, you use this resource. You managed to get away, fortunately, by doing that. But pretty close call, and now they're on alert. So they're going... Scouting might not be the best thing. It's going to be a little trickier to do any kind of further scout type things. Because you could see now, like, once you make your way back to the camp, you can see they start sending out patrols kind of further. Like, they weren't really scouting around, but now they've got a couple of patrols that they're sending out.
Hey guys, I got a bad news for you.
I hope your scouting operation was fruitful.
Very fruitful. I learned that they're on a high alert. Well, to be honest, I put them in alert, but the point is, it's going to be difficult to scout.
You know what that means? Less people in the main camp.
I haven't thought about that, but that's a good thing. If we manage to go through their net.
The scout.
What's that?
I said I may be able to scout because they are right near a lake, right?
They are.
I can go in the lake. I can breathe underwater. I can get along the camp and see what needs to be seen from the lake.
That sounds like a good idea.
Do you have any method of getting over there without simply walking? Because at this point there will be some patrols that are going to be starting to go around the hill, and so you run the risk of being intercepted by one of them if you're simply moving on foot to get there.
Well, how big is this lake? I mean, is it
It's not
fairly-
huge. Lake probably isn't even really the right word. It's probably more of a pond. It's not
so?
maybe like a couple
There wouldn't be
100 feet across.
So you're saying there wouldn't be any unpatrolled space around this lake then?
Because they're on alert now because they spotted Gabe or Tomarus, and so I'm just simply saying you can do it. You can attempt to do it, but it's going to be trickier than it was before. It's going to be a higher DC basically. So up to you.
All right. I thought I could enter the lake from the far side and then swim across.
Perhaps before you could, but now there are active scouts that have left the camp and are going in different directions. So I just wanted to give you this is what's happening. It's a little your character would know it's a little sketchier now.
Perhaps wait for the cover of darkness and then make our move.
With invisibility. Because the way that I see it, we're gonna have to go through that huge fire there, and the entrance is guarded by 2 people. So we're gonna have to create some kind of distraction. Even if we are invisible, there's still the problem of physically going through the 2 guards standing guard in front of it.
The caverns would more than likely be a ways from the lake, where the ground starts to rise, I would think. Perhaps. I could be wrong.
Say that. I didn't understand that. Could you say that again?
Are you not hearing me very well, or?
I don't know if you're like on a delay or I don't know what it is. It's a little weird, but I can hear you okay.
I was just saying that it may be the caverns entrance to the cavern may be, where the ground starts to rise rather than right beside the lake.
Okay. Anything else that anybody wants to do, or just kind of hanging out, waiting for nightfall at this point?
I think that's the plan.
Okay.
Yeah, Vern would just be asking like what our plan is. Like, how do we can get in there, but how do we get out? If we use the invisibility potions, like, do we just hope that there's something in there that we can try to find a different cavern out, or do we just behead this gnoll and bring it out to their encampment, or what?
Sure, the other half that's humans would not appreciate one of their comrades being cut down.
Well, I suppose it depends on the manner in which we cut down this war leader. It is
They are cowards.
If it is quiet and we do not raise too much of an alarm, then perhaps we could walk out the same way we came in.
It's unlikely we're gonna be surgical as we think we might, but perhaps I'm wrong. Perhaps we're gonna be surgical and go in, behead the Hydra, so to speak, and come out before they can notice. But more likely, we're gonna have to make our way through the mess that we endanger. So
I agree. I do also have the ability to cast invisibility, so that may get some of us out, at least.
I have some abilities, but nothing as powerful as that, sir.
Now we wait.
All right, as you're waiting, go ahead. You can give me perception checks while you wait to see if you maybe spot anything.
How do we pull our character up?
Double click.
Oh, there we go. I found him now.
Okay. Vern. Okay. Vern and Ethos, you see maybe like an hour in, like an hour, still daylight. You're still waiting for darkness here. But at some point you see over here by the campfire, a couple of the humans step up to kind of warm themselves from the big fire. And the gnolls that are tending to these spitfires, or the roasting pigs, they kind of get real irritated with them, and they start kind of shrieking at them and kind of getting physical with them, kind of pushing them away. The humans, there's some kind of shouting match that is happening. You're probably too far away to like hear the content of that, but it's clear to you that there's some kind of aggression that happens. And these two guards both kind of move up to split that up at some point and kind of separate them. They kind of bark out orders, and it's probably at that point that you realize this camp is pretty segregated. The humans and the gnolls aren't mixing with each other, and after that little bit of fighting, seems like maybe that's an intentional keep them away from each other because they aren't getting along so well.
Yeah, I would just relay that back to the party. Like, hey, we might have something. We can wait for another. Either make a distraction happen, or wait for something to happen again. But we should be ready to move. You know, I think Ethos seen it as well.
Maybe another thing to point out is you never see anyone come or go from the cavern. But with that,
Okay.
nightfall comes, and it's maybe like 6 o'clock or so. You've waited about 2 hours. And you think you're at your point maybe where you maybe have an opportunity opening to make your move.
Potions of invisibility and ready to go, guys.
All right.
Here's everybody. Let's hope this isn't our last.
Bottoms up.
All right.
So you quaff your potions of invisibility, and you now are on the timer of 1 hour to get in and get out. It takes you, in order to do this, you have to do this probably from the distance that you're at, so it probably takes you a few minutes to make it to the camp. But with the invisibility, it's really no problem for you to just kind of stroll through. I'm not going to ask for checks or anything like that. Just being careful and maybe taking some precautions to quiet your armor and equipment and such, you're able to make your way up to this point here. I'm not gonna be a stickler about the tokens and where they're at right now. I'm really just moving you up there so you can see. But you got kind of an issue with getting into the cavern right now because the guards, they pretty much stand right in the entrance. Now, it might be possible for you to slip by, but you're going to be getting right up in their business trying to do so. And so you run the risk of them maybe hearing you breathe on them, or maybe you make a little slip, just a little something that might tip them off that something is wrong.
Are the two guards both of the same?
I didn't hear that.
Are the two guards both of the same race?
You're both humans. Yep.
I have an idea. We've already seen that they, well, not quite well, how we say, comrades in arms in terms. They don't have order or discipline. Maybe a little infighting might be enough of a distraction to lure them away from the gate. And I have just the plan for that. And he's pointing, but he's forgetting that he's invisible because he doesn't do this. He points towards the gigantic spit roast in the middle. That would definitely keep Anil happy. Be a shame if it all be gone to waste.
What's your plan for this?
I don't know, ruin the roast. That would be quite a travesty to those who are more carnivorous. Be a waste of good meat.
It might just work.
If we cast a spell or anything like that, it'll take us out of invisibility, right?
Yeah.
Correct.
Nothing
Okay.
says you can't just
But if we go and
push a pig.
if we go and push like the stick over that are holding it, would we get seen or?
What does it say about interacting with objects? I don't remember what
Interacting with
invisibility
objects
says
is
about that.
okay. I think it's like attacks and spells.
Okay.
I'll look it up.
The spell ends for a target that attacks or casts the spell.
Okay.
Yeah, so it sounds like messing around with something like that you'd still retain your invisibility.
Who wants to go push over a pig?
Yeah, I guess Vern would just whisper quietly, like whoever's the most silent.
I have a telekinetic feat. Is that considered a spell?
That's just like communication, right?
No, I can shove someone.
Oh.
Telekinetically.
I'm gonna say using an ability like that would maybe, drop invisibility.
Okay, then I won't do it.
You guys want me to do it?
Go for it.
So you guys prep yourself against the wall, ready to exploit if the guards move, which we don't know, but be ready.
Sounds good.
All right, so Tomarus, you're heading over to where the pig roast is happening, and you're gonna try to drop one of the pigs, like into the
I'm
flame.
trying to ruin their dinner. See if that creates a commotion.
Okay. So you're just like gonna like knock it down into the flame. Is that the intention?
Yes.
Okay. I'm gonna say give me a deception check.
Coming.
Okay.
Pretty good.
So you go over there and you grab hold of the like little apparatus. It's pretty primitive that's holding up the pig, and you just kind of like yank on it, and it collapses and falls in. And it takes actually like all of this architecture, the wood just drops in, all of the roasts right in the flames, and you can see the knolls kind of erupt, and they're already agitated from this little thing that happened earlier, and they immediately start pointing it out at this side of the camp and screeching and screaming. As that is happening, these two guards immediately go up and are trying to stop this fighting.
And we're in.
And you walk right in. So you want to give me kind of like your marching order right around the 3 here?
Guys, what do you think?
The samurai out front, right? Or who's got night? It's night out. So who's got dark vision?
Yeah, and
Are
it
there lights
looks
in
like
the
it is
cave?
dark, and no, there is not.
Oh my goodness. The bane of being human.
Yeah.
Oh, drat. Fine.
I have dark vision.
Okay,
Yeah,
you got,
I guess Tamaris will be up front with the samurai and kind of guiding him with his dark vision.
No thief. This is a joke. Come on. Why would I do this? Is dumb. He's just muttering to himself.
So, as you're moving in there, you immediately off to your right see this like kind of opened up area, this little pen, where there are 2 giant hyenas that are nesting. They're laying down kind of on a bed of gnawed bone. They are tied up. They're chained to the wall. But as you move in, you're all invisible, but you can see like their demeanor changes a little bit. Like the hair on the backs of their necks kind of rises, and you see their heads raise up. Like they know that maybe they can smell you. They're not howling or reacting right now, but you feel like they're agitated right now, and you're unclear what they might do.
I think we gotta go through this, hugging the wall to the left, to the west, and just hope that the chains are not they're loose. I will basically drag the samurai behind me, hugging the wall. Let's try to march through.
I cannot see anything. What's the problem?
if,
Sorry. That's the issue. I can't see anything. What's the problem?
I would say probably you can see some shadowy forms. You're right by the entrance here, and so some of the light from the fires and such from outside is probably giving you enough that you can see there's some hulking beasts there that are moving about and breathing heavily, sniffing at the air.
I tell him, whispering, "We don't want to wake the dog. The dogs."
are they awake already or what?
They are awake.
Do we
Yep,
notice?
they are. They seem like they know something is passing through. They can't see you, and they haven't done anything yet, but giving you a chance to respond to this.
I'm gonna tell the party I can cast silence on them, but I'll lose invisibility. Sa-sa!
I will say, whispering, "Let's try to get past. We don't want to make a fight here."
I'm being honest. We've already made our goals in terms of getting here. They're quiet. What's the issue? They're chained up.
Well, I guess if they start making noise, if they start barking at us, then
I mean, we're already in the front door. What's the worst that's going to happen?
So
Well,
you start to progress forward a bit, and indeed, as you all are moving, you're kind of whispering a bit, you're making some noise now. They begin to howl.
Go with the
Just keep
silence.
moving.
Yeah,
Alright,
we're going to boom. I go with the silence because
You're going to cast it now.
I can't see them. But it says I gotta click on it.
Yeah, no problem. Go ahead and click it and burn it, but you cast silence. You manage to react fast enough that you think that you caught it before it really alerted anyone, at least anyone outside. These things would have had to have howled for probably a bit before, with all the chaos that's starting to kind of brew outside, before anyone would have came in here and dealt with that. So you've made it in. Continuing to move forward here. Up ahead, you can see that the tunnel here, the cavern tunnel, seems to branch out both to the left and to the right. And
can we light a torch, or are you able to show us it? Because I can't. I don't think anyone without dark vision can see it, can they?
Yeah, Vern, you want to light a torch?
Oh, you want me? Would I? Could I do it enough where we wouldn't be in the entryway?
Sure. Yeah. I mean,
then I would light a torch. Yeah.
If you want to kind of light a torch while maybe like scuffling, just out of eye shot there.
Yep. Okay.
It kind of seems like the incline here is maybe going down slightly. Kind of like further down under the hill.
Okay.
Basically the divine. I can actually see now.
Can I make a survival check to get a sense of what foot traffic is there in this direction?
Sure.
Nope.
You're on fire tonight.
Get him out of the way now.
With a 10, you could just tell that there's kind of heavy traffic that comes from both ways. Maybe I'd say a little bit lighter traffic going to the left there, down this way.
Okay, so we're actually going the right direction, potentially. If by light traffic we interpret, not know where the leader might be, which we don't know, but I cannot tell you anything more than that, I'm sorry.
Well, we made it this far. Might as well keep going while we're ahead of it.
Do we have a torch or a lantern? Like, can we kind of screen a little bit, or is it going to totally give us away?
Let's see, do I have a lantern in my equipment?
Dave, I can't hear.
I was muted. Sorry.
Oh.
I would cast light. I would cast a cantrip light.
Okay.
It's a 20-foot sphere, so.
All right, so light is up. You're all able to see. So what's the plan? You're wanting to continue... Is it this way that you were saying you wanted to keep going?
Yeah, I mean, I propose, but up to you guys.
I have no other idea of where we're going. Might as well head in the direction we already are.
Yeah. Sounds good.
Okay.
Only we could scout.
I could scout if you want, but I haven't been particularly successful to date, so...
What do you mean? You're invisible. What could possibly go wrong?
I don't know.
That is true. The only person that is currently visible is Vern. So you make it down the cavern here, and you can see a kind of a dead end here. Come around to right here, and you can see there's a hole in the ground right there, maybe about 6 feet in diameter, where it almost seems like it goes down like at a 60-degree angle. A pretty steep tunnel that seems to bored right out of the floor there that goes down.
Is there any telltale sign, like I don't know, like a skull or something that gives us the idea of is this area being used or anything?
Well, you go over to the shaft. Maybe you want to check it out,
Yeah.
and you can see that it looks like metal handholds have been kind of like embedded in the cavern floor there to kind of help one maybe navigate that steep tunnel without completely just dropping through.
So I relay that. It looks like there's a way to go down, to climb down, if that's what we want. But before we do, can I inspect a little bit of this area to the left that you describe as a dead end? Just very quickly glance to see if, something, I catch sight of something.
You head over there to kind of check it out and look into the crevice. And it looks like it's just kind of like almost like maybe this was kind of like bored out or chiseled out of like the rock. Like maybe there was something here that somebody like dug out or chiseled out of the way. And as you're looking at it, there is a bit of black ooze on the ceiling that has a little tendril that's going to try to take a... Or no, it can't see you. I have to look at black oozes and see, would it know that you were there?
Yeah, would
I
they have
no
like,
idea.
They're meant for like caverns and dungeons and things, so I'm just assuming.
I mean, if they have blind sense, I'm done.
Oh yeah, you're invisible, aren't you?
Yeah, but if they have blind sense, it doesn't count.
Black pudding has blind sight.
Then I'm toast. I'm toast.
But I don't know if this blind sight just means if it's blind, it could see, right?
I think it means he can perceive, right? Feel within his radius.
Oh yeah, it can perceive its surroundings without relying on sight. Yep. So it
Yeah.
knows you're there.
Yes, it knows I'm
It
there.
has
Yeah.
8 senses, yeah.
So it's going to get one freebie attack here.
Oh,
And here we go.
Oh, and did it roll anything? Did you see anything?
Not an attack.
Yeah,
I mean, I didn't see an attack.
Foundry's doing this thing to me again.
Now something is rolling.
Oh, and it's a nat 1. I better re-roll that with one of my 11 re-rolls.
nah, you don't need to.
If you keep using them, Corey will buy more.
Yeah. It's for the kids.
It's for the kids.
Okay. Well, I only rolled a 6, so an 11 total is going to miss you.
Yeah.
And let's go ahead. Let's get an initiative going here. So Thomas, you were the one that kind of moved up.
Yeah.
So you all are adventurers. You probably know that puddings are rather slow moving. And so, depending on how initiative shakes out here, if you don't want to risk losing your invisibility, you might not have to necessarily fight and kill this thing, but... Alright. So the first one up is Maja. So you just saw this thick, oily thing that's stuck to the ceiling, kind of just like bit of ooze arm kind of went down and totally whiffed at a spot. You can't see Tamaris yourself, but just based on the way that it swung down, you don't get the sense that it connected or hit anything.
I think I might burn my invisibility though. I think I'm just gonna hit it with the frostbite.
Sounds good. So in okay, DC 15 con save. we go. And a 10 is going to fail, so he takes 7 points of cold.
Yep.
And as you hit, as that spell connects with it, you can just see like the little patch where like you focused concentration on the spell. It doesn't seem to like slow down or crystallize at all. Like it almost seems like it thaws almost immediately, giving you the sense it probably has immunity to that.
Oh, well, it still has disadvantage on its next attack.
Sounds good.
And yeah, I'll just let everyone know that that thing's there.
Ethos.
From where I am, can I see the? Oh, all right. So I guess we're all becoming visible then.
It's your choice, Cliff.
Oh,
You're not yet.
is there any way that I could get around him, or is he pretty much?
I mean, it's a dead end. There's nothing in that crevice.
Oh. I think we should head down that cylinder, that tube.
Yep.
Let's leave the pudding alone. We can outrun him.
All right, so you're heading to the tunnel and making your way down there.
I think so, yeah.
All right, Vern.
With seeing Ethos do that, yeah, I'll head to the tunnel, but I'll keep an eye on just in case, like if it keeps following. But I'll take my movement and save. What do we call it? Save the action or hold my action.
Okay, moving and holding your action if the thing follows you.
Yeah, I'll take my movement to the hole, and then just hold my action if it tries to, like, if all of a sudden it's super fast for some reason.
Okay. The pudding is up next, and it's going to take an attack on
Me.
on you at disadvantage. Okay, let's see if it works. Oh, now it's working. 15?
That's what he needs.
Oh, okay. So he's going to deal 27 points of damage.
Holy cow!
I'll use my reaction to absorb using my projected ward. I'm an abjuration wizard, so I'm gonna absorb 18 of those hit point damage.
All right, so
I get only 9, right? 18. Okay.
Yeah, so you take 9.
Okay. Thank
so
you.
you see
Appreciate it.
like a shimmering shell of if you know, like a bulette, a land shark, like a spectral form of like a bulette armor kind of encases you to absorb some of that blow.
Awesome. Thank you.
this would be like a really cruel time to like have the boulette wandering monster like come
I
in.
mean, come on. It turns into a spirit one becomes a real one. You shouldn't have killed me. Now I'm here.
Tomarus, it's your turn.
Disengage, get GTFO.
Okay. And
So bye!
Takio?
He draws a sword, ready to go. Finally, an enemy to fight. He looks as like prepare to face cold steel, foul demon, and then sees everyone running away, and he's just disappointed. First, like thieves, then like cowards. Sheathes his sword, or runs with everyone else.
Okay. So I'm gonna say like everybody up here is intending to go down the tunnel, ultimately.
Yes.
Okay. So I'm gonna have.
Yeah.
I think we'll take our break as you're heading down, like you've successfully gotten down the tunnel. So we're going to take a quick 10-minute break here. We'll come back at 9 and see what happens next. You're going to hear something when you get to the end of the tunnel, and that'll be the thing that we pick back up on. So thanks, everyone, for hanging out with us here tonight. Thanks so much for the donations thus far. Looks like we're at $11.50. So if we happen to make it to $350 more, we'd be raffling off giving away 2 20 Sides Every Story hoodies that we've been, I don't know, you've probably seen a number of us wearing on the streams here. We also have a second game tomorrow night, so it doesn't have to all happen tonight. It could be tonight and tomorrow. But we'll be back shortly, so stick around with us, and we'll be back in about 10 minutes or so. Hey, welcome back, everybody. Once again, we're 20 Sides to Every Story. We're raising some money for Extra Life here tonight. So far, 1,150 raised. We raise 1,500. We'll be doing a giveaway of a 20 Sides to Every Story hoodie that a number of us are wearing. So, actually 2. We'll give away 2 of those. So, this is our first of 2 games. We'll be doing another one tomorrow night at 7 o'clock as well. So where we are at, do exclamation mark Extra Life, and that'll bring up the Extra Life donation. Yeah, there it is. So where we're at right now, our team here of characters has been sent to try to find and take out the Dog King, Narog, the leader of the Knoll forces that are a part of the assembly of the forces of elemental evil. And if they can, recover any information or reconnaissance or information about their troop movements or strategy in the days ahead in the military campaign. They've managed to, with the use of some invisibility potions, sneak into Narog's den and have made their way down. They found this hole in the floor at the back of one of the caverns that seems to be maybe something that was burrowed out or dug up to connect to another natural cavern on the other side. Some handholds and such that allowed them access to down there. And just as you're getting out of the tunnel here, you can hear from up above this really loud growl of this voice, and it seems to be shouting, and it shouts back, "Norgu! Norgu! I have returned from the hunt, and I come with a gift from my lady, a pet. Come, let me show you the graciousness of the Lady of Fungus." You can kind of hear him kind of barking out this voice, barking out. No question to you that has to be the voice of Narog. He'd mentioned being away on a hunt. Perhaps he hadn't been here at all this entire time and has just recently returned back. And you can hear some kind of snarling, some kind of large creature. It seems to be different from the hyenas that you had heard earlier momentarily. But he's arrived with something with him. And after some time, as he seems like he's moving kind of closer, but then his voice kind of dims and it seems to get muffled and distant a bit.
Can we get a sense of what direction it is going?
Not really. Not coming towards you.
I think we have to turn and follow his voice.
You're telling me the direction we should have gone to the first place was to the left? Preposterous. What is it?
Sounds likely.
What we know now.
Only a fool goes left.
Well, if it's any consolation, when we go back down the tunnel, it'll be on our right then.
Excellent. Right is always right.
Absolutely.
Very good point.
Then it's time
Back
to face
back
the
up
black
where we
pudding again.
Confront
up.
this beast and vanquish him once and for all in the name of honor.
All right, so sounds like you're gonna climb back up and head to where you're now surmising is maybe Narog's lair or quarters. Any preparations that you're making as you make your way back up there?
Well, I think we should rush past where that pudding is as quickly as we can.
And I would cast bless on the party here. I believe. I just want to see how 1 minute, I guess, it lasts. Oh.
Maybe when we're just about to round the corner. Maybe that.
Yeah,
would
right
be
when
about
we're rounding the corner, I'll cast it on those three.
Sure. So who's getting that?
Well, it'll be. Let's see. Those who would be up front. So probably the ranger, possibly Ethos, and then what's Dawson's character's name again?
Akio.
Takio. There we go. You three will have bless. So, and I'll go ahead and cast it right. I'll cast it now, but as soon as we round the corner, then if that's okay.
Sure. Any other preparations?
Are we still in agreement in saying this is still a bad time to challenge him one-on-one in single combat? Still a bad time.
Well, I have a feeling that he won't be by himself.
Challenge.
Huh.
He's kind of squishy, so he doesn't want to be right at the front line.
So is it still going to be Tomarus and Takio at the front? And what's the second rank after that?
I might go
I
up
go
front
at the
then.
second rank.
Okay.
I'll go up front then.
Something like this?
That's fine.
Yeah, makes sense to me.
All right. So as you round the corner, silence is like what, 10-minute? Or I guess maybe it would be like dropped, but no matter. I'm just gonna ignore kind of that piece. They probably wouldn't be able to see you clearly from that crevice. You're not walking past their field of vision this time around, but it'll bring you right around here. Maybe like that. I don't know. Maybe it's gotta be like that. I hate like sometimes the way that I built like the walls and such make it a little wonky. Like Tomarus, do you have vision? Are you able to see?
Yeah, I can
You are.
see
Okay.
quite a few.
Okay. So what you see as you kind of charge around the corner here, ready to face Narog, you can see that there's a few things in the room. First of all, Narog here is a hulking gnoll, much larger than the others, maybe a good foot taller than the rest. He's muscled. The hair on that covers his body is all kind of mangy, kind of matted a bit, and he's got this flail that is sitting. He's holding it in his hand. He's not waving it around just yet, but you can see it's got 3 heads on it, and each one seems to have like a little like kind of wisp of like shadow or smoke that seems to kind of like linger or follow each of the balls that are at the ends of those chains, those spiked balls. Right here, you can see there's a female gnoll. She's got kind of silvery gray hair, armed. She's got sheathed a maybe not sheathed, but like strapped to her back as a glaive, and she's admiring this creature, this humongous demonic creature that's just got kind of spikes running down its back and a barbed tail. and as it's breathing, you can just see kind of like embers or a little bit of flame kind of coming forth, and she's almost like petting it. Not that this is a big cuddly creature or anything, but this is one of the wandering monsters. So you can thank Corey for this Shuva or Shusuva. Maybe that's how you pronounce it, Shusuva. It's like a Knoll-aligned kind of demonic creature, one of Ian Nagahu's creations. By default, he usually would have a displacer beast with him. So this is kind of an upgraded wandering monster. So thank you, Corey, for the donation, and thank you for upcasting this encounter to be a little bit trickier to navigate. So right here is where we're going to have the big battle, and we're going to roll initiative. So let me end the previous combat. Pop us back on. Go ahead and roll initiative.
Initiatives, everybody.
Maybe this is where I'm going to have to use some of my 10 DM rerolls because
Rerolls all initiatives. Oh no!
I might. We'll see.
Yeah, it makes sense.
I'm going to use one on Narog because a 6? Really? Oh no! Why?
Use another one.
No, I gotta abide by the one reroll per.
You put a cap?
Roll.
Okay. But when you attempt to roll, like the cap is kind of.
I'll do.
You know.
I'll reroll Norgu as well. See if I can help her out. Oh no!
Alex, no.
Why?
Das
Okay.
ist nicht gut.
So
I
clearly,
think you should just re-roll the Shisuva as well, just in case.
I mean,
right?
Three's a rule.
Clearly,
It's
the
for the kids.
for the
It's for the
kids. Clearly, the dice want to reinforce the you got the drop on them narrative maybe a bit. So we're going to start things off here with Tomarus. It is your go to start us off.
Okay, so what it will do is what I built him for. It'll move forward 5, 10, 15, 20. Hack at the big beast. And it's got 2-weapon fighting. Does that mean that when I take the attack twice with each?
Two weapon fighting means with your bonus action, your offhand attack applies your actual damage amount.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like you roll with your dex as well instead of just rolling the d6 or whatever your damage dice is.
Okay. Anyway, I'll go with a scimitar, the main hand.
Don't forget your 1d4.
Oh wow, yeah, that might be important. So rolling it right now. Yeah.
All
20.
right, that's going to be a hit against the big man.
So normal damage and minimum damage. So that's the first. I do have 2 attacks. So I will attack a second time with the scimitar. I mean, correct me, Alex. I've never played a high-level character yet, so I don't know if I'm doing anything wrong.
So your second attack with your extra attack would be with your main hand.
Right, yeah, I'm doing a main hand. Yeah.
Yep,
Okay.
yep.
Got it.
And that'll hit as well.
Okay, and I will apply. Sorry.
Oh, I was just going to say, you don't need to roll the bless on that one. That's totally a hit.
And can I apply the Colossus layer feature to this one?
Colossus Slayer.
It says that it has to be hurt, right? So is it
Oh.
one after the other, or
No,
it's all the same?
He's hurt, so yeah.
Okay, so I will roll the normal damage, and then I will add 1 extra d8. So the normal damage is 9, to which through Colossus Lair I add a 6.
Okay,
So 15 total.
Nice.
And then with the offhand, as a bonus action, I will do the attack with the offhand, which is a normal short sword. Here is coming. Normal attack.
That one's going to hit.
Okay, and then damage on this one. And that's 8.
All right.
And with that being done, given that I'm mobile and they've attacked him, I'm immune to attack opportunity from him. So I'm going to do 25, 30, 35, 40. I'm back to here.
All right. Strong first round, as you can tell, as you charged in there and took your hits on Narog. His back was turned to you, and you can just see him kind of stretching out his back, and he just lets out this primal yell that reverberates through the cavern. Vern, it is your turn.
Oh, there we go. I'm unmuted. Gargnog, the Dog King. So I just click on his icon, right? His token. So it does damage to it if I attack.
Oh,
right?
no, it's not like Fantasy Grounds in that way. You'll roll your things, and I'll deal with the signing damage and such.
Okay, I'm gonna do Sacred Flame.
Okay. So, DC 14 dex save, and this is at Narog.
Yeah, at no, the Dog King, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's Narog.
so-
And he's going to make that save with a 19.
So no damage then.
No damage.
No. And that's the end of my turn.
Ethos, it is your turn.
Ethos, he's going to bring out summon Tentacle of the Deeps as a bonus action. Why isn't that working?
I don't know. So it's a spell?
Yeah, it's an active ability, I guess, but you summon it as a bonus action.
10-foot long tentacle at a point you can see within 60 feet of you. All right. Do you want to ping for me where you would like that to emerge from?
How do you ping here?
Just click and hold.
Yeah, right there.
Right there? Okay. Sounds good. So then it looks like when you create the tentacle, you can make a melee spell attack against one creature within 10 feet of it.
So I just roll a d20 then? Because I thought there'd be something would come up here.
Let's see. Yeah, just roll a d20. Okay. And then you'd be adding your... What are you? You're a warlock, so your charisma modifier plus your proficiency bonus?
Yeah. Yes.
So plus 6. So 15. Are you blessed?
I believe I was. Wasn't I one?
Yeah, Ethos is blessed.
Okay. So go ahead and roll a d4. All right. So that'll bring it up to a 18. And you're trying to hit the Dog King.
Yeah.
Okay, that'll hit.
All right. So that would be
1d8 cold damage.
2d8. No, 1d8.
All right, so 5 points of damage.
And then he's going to fire Eldritch Blast at him.
Okay. Go ahead and roll your bless. All right, that one will hit. All right, 7 points of damage, and at this point, you've got a second one. All right, that one's going to hit as well. Go ahead and roll damage. And 9 points. So the Dog King is just getting barraged by this surprise attack that you've all launched on him. And he barks out an abyssal at something in the corner, that large creature that a few of you can see. And that thing starts charging down the hall here. And gets to the front line. These blades on its back just rear up like saw blades, and its tail is kind of whipping about. It's got enormous reach. And let's see, it gets to make several attacks. The first one is going to be its a bite attack, which is going to go right for Tomarus. Oops. Sorry, let me re-roll that. I accidentally hit advantage.
I like the advantage more.
Yeah. So a 21 to hit.
Yeah, he will hit.
36 points of damage.
He doesn't like you. The DM just does not like you for some reason.
And the tail is swinging about.
Do you have the massive damage rule, Alex?
No, we're not doing any of that. Yeah.
Okay.
The tail extends 15 feet across over the heads of many of you and goes directly for Ethos. $15.
15 hits.
15 hits. Okay. It's going to be 14 points of damage, and then give me a Constitution saving throw. All right, you make it. So no poison impact on that. But this creature is in Narog's aura of blood, which means he can make a bite attack as a bonus action. And he's going to do that. The second bite, I'm going to say that's a coin flip, which target he goes for. He's kind of on a rampage here. This one is going to be directed at Takio.
Question.
Yes.
Can he see me? I'm still invisible.
Oh, you're still invisible. Oh.
Sorry.
No, he can't.
He
Sorry,
can happily
Tomarus.
attack a disadvantage. He can happily attack a disadvantage. Come
No.
on. Yeah, I'm still there. Face me.
You know...
Up to you.
I'll say yes. Just in the rampage, this is like a random attack in that spot. I'll keep the roll that I had that he was going to attack there. So we'll have him roll it at disadvantage. 15 probably isn't there, huh?
Hold on.
I'm gonna use one of my rerolls because I got 8,
Yeah.
so I gotta use them.
Use them all. Use them all.
Gotta keep Corey happy. Use them.
And that's not gonna do it. So you managed to kind of sidestep out of the way as this massive maw kind of right in the space where you're standing. You could sidestep that. But yeah, it's making you very uncomfortable to be this close to this particular creature. And that's going to bring us next to Takio.
Sidestep the bite at him. He's gonna give a big old smile on his face and just lay waste to this fella. Can he see me? If not, I roll the first attack at advantage.
Yeah, first attack could be an advantage.
And these will all be Great Weapon Master. First strike. I get to add the D4. Natural 20.
Wow.
Well, that's a crit.
Alright, first attack for critical damage. 35.
Okay, that's got the great weapon programmed in there already.
I already took care of that. I made sure of that before the game.
35.
Second attack.
Wow.
Wow.
Still Great Weapon Master. Uh, 14 to hit.
That hits.
Damage. 23.
Holy shoes.
And since I critted again with a melee attack, I get a bonus action, another melee attack with Great Weapon Master. So I will do that again. On D4. And a 14 to hit again.
It's gonna hit.
This
Don't
blast-
make
this-
me bring out the bullets.
This bless
Bring them
is coming in play. And damage. Oh,
Wow.
20. So for a total of 3.
Like 80 points.
If you're just
78
tuning in,
points of
that
damage.
health bar was green and full a moment ago before Takio stepped up.
So 78 points of damage
Yes.
for the grand total. And I will move around. Can I move around it?
Down towards where the others are. No. Like you could maybe move 5 feet, like here or here, but that's about it.
Someone please, I'll just stay where I am then. Can someone please take him out? He's in my way.
I know.
That's it.
All right, Maja, it is your turn.
Okay. Maja's gonna take out her focus, which looks like a fossilized egg, and she is going to cast slow. That's a 40-foot cube, so it should hit everyone, all the enemies.
All right. So if you actually cast it, what is it? You would go to Spellbook, and if you hover over the icon near the spell name and click on like the D20 icon that should pop up, it'll put a saving throw thing I can roll.
Yeah. Let's see. No, where's the spell book?
right by attributes, inventory, features, and then we'll have spellbook right under your armor class.
Is this the character sheet in Foundry?
Oh, are you using D&D Beyond?
I am.
Oh, okay, no problem. I can manually roll it.
Okay.
Let's see. I'll just do them one by one. It's a wisdom save. Okay, wisdom saves.
DC 15.
First one is Norgu. Oh man.
Roll
Make
that one.
Yeah, I'll re-roll.
Corey, you gotta buy more rerolls.
Or we need more rerolls.
Corey's gonna finance the entire extra life. Better luck. Okay, that was finally one that was worth doing. Let's see, one for Narog. Gotta reroll. Jeez, down to 5 only. I was hoping to save some of these for tomorrow. I got a whole different team I got to deal with. Okay, that one was worthwhile, and the big demon here. Makes it. So you burn up a bunch of my rerolls, but
Well, good enough. All right, that's my turn.
all right. Next up is Norgu, and she produces. She kind of runs over here for a second. And then grabs a bow, and she's going to take a shot at Tamaris. Or no. She's going to take a shot at Ethos with her longbow. Two shots, actually. That one's a miss. Second one. 20 to hit. 10 points of damage to you, Ethos. And then she moves back or behind the wall there. That brings us to Narog, the dog king. And he moves to there. And then back here, he's going to take a shot with his longbow. He's going to shoot at Tamaris. 3 shots with the longbow. Ugh. I'll do a reroll. Down to 4.
He really doesn't like you, Tamaris.
Hell, he opened up with all that damage at the beginning. He passed. So that one was a miss. Oh my god. Down to 4. Yeah, I'll do another reroll.
For the kids.
For the kids.
If you don't use them now, you'll never use them.
Oh, 12 will miss. One more. Okay, 21 to hit.
21 will hit.
8 points of damage.
Down to 7.
Tamaris, please, fight some cover.
Tamaris, it
Yeah,
is your turn.
Good. Okay. How does the creature in front of me look?
It's looking pretty beat up. Big
Wow.
gashes in its side from the great weapon attacks. Those
Okay, let's see if
chopped it up.
we can finish it up. I assume 18 hits. I'm not rolling the...
18 will hit.
So I'm gonna use the Colossus Layer. And so that's 12 total, the first attack. Go at it again. $17
That'll hit.
and damage again. 10 points of damage. And
All right.
then finally the offhand. And that's gonna miss. And after having attacked, I will move. Alex, I know you already. Someone already asked you. There's no way past this, but would a acrobatic check do anything, or would just like be impossible for you?
I'll say an acrobatics check is possible. If you fail it, he gets a free attack on you.
No,
Okay.
I'm down at 70 points. Even if I go past, I'm dead meat. So I'm just gonna move out. 10, 20, 25, 30 in cover. I'm dead meat if I stay there.
All right, Vern, you're up next. You might be muted.
Yeah, sorry. I'll move up to there, and then I am going to cast Guiding Bolt at 3rd level.
Okay. If you move up there, unless you got something, it would be at disadvantage if you move into melee.
Oh, is it?
But you could certainly cast it
I
prior
would-
to moving up there. So
Yeah, I would. If that's okay, I'll cast it prior to moving up there. Oh, I gotta use it. I'm gonna use my inspiration, my reroll. Or does the 10 hit? by chance?
well,
Probably not.
inspiration you have to say before you roll.
Oh, okay.
But you do. There's one player reroll if you want to use that.
Can I use it, guys?
Go for it.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay.
You're gonna do much more damage with that guy in bolt then.
Oh my gosh.
Ah.
Hey. No.
Are you blessed? Did you bless yourself?
I didn't. I blessed
Okay.
everybody else. Unless I get more people than what I read of. When I
3
cast
people?
it.
3 people on first level.
So, unless I would have cast at a higher level than I didn't. So. I think that's yeah.
All right. That brings us to Ethos.
Okay. Ethos is gonna cast his Altered Blast on that big creature.
You are blessed.
You are blessed.
Okay. Let's see.
That should hit.
I don't feel like I got $100 worth of demon out of that though. Oh, it's only 1 point. All right, he's still up. He's still up.
So that missed.
That was the
No,
bless.
No, that
That was the bless.
Yeah, the bless is going to make it a hit. He's got an AC of 14. So go ahead and
nice.
roll the damage.
And damage.
Oh, he's still alive.
I get another Altered
You get another
Blast.
one.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead, roll some damage. As the Eldritch Blast hits and impacts the rib cage of this demon-like creature, it just bursts into a flame and just leaves some kind of this sulfuric residue on the ground there, giving you clear access to the back of the cave where Narog is.
And I'm going to take a bonus action to move my tentacle, so that I can attack the Dog King again.
All right. Oops. You just want to like move it like there, so it's within 10 feet of them.
Yeah, that's fine.
Even up maybe a little bit. All right, you get to move and attack with that, I imagine.
Magically, see, I believe I can. You can move the tentacle up to 30 feet and then repeat the attack.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead and just roll a d20. Okay, so it's a 12. Go ahead and roll your bless. You, in theory, could still make it. Not going to be quite enough.
Okay.
All right. Brings us to Takio.
Balrog, face me! He's gonna charge right up to him. He's gonna start beating on his chest, and he's gonna use his fighting spirit. He'll get 5 temporary hit points, and all of his attacks this round will have advantage. And I'm gonna wail on him with Great Weapon Master. First attack. I should just copy paste the extra thing there.
I'm scared.
18 to hit.
That'll hit.
Damage.
Ooh.
Second attack. Still at advantage. 17.
It's going to hit.
Damage. 21.
All right.
Action Surge. I'll hit him 2 more times. Still at advantage.
That'll hit.
$24. And final attack. $23 to hit for 22 damage.
So as you go up and you just start quickly like lashing out at him, he doesn't even have a chance. You're much speedier and mightier than he is. He goes down relatively quickly, but as he does, he lets out a blood-curdling scream, one final command that reverberates through the cavern. Just words in Abyssal is this like hissing, this sound that you can tell was a command that definitely reached those on the outside. And he goes down. There's sort of a snarl coming from this direction from Norghu, who looks angry, vengeful that you killed her mate. She drops the bow. She grabs the glaive. That's going to bring us to Maja.
Okay, I'm gonna move. Oh, can't. Will you say I could see her? I can see the token.
Yeah, she's got maybe
Just as
cover,
well.
so she, like, AC-wise has +2 to AC, but you can see her.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna cast Maximilian's Earthen Grasp. So that's
Strength save.
I need a strength saving throw 15.
There's the 20. So is it half damage?
I think it's 0 damage actually. Yeah. Yeah. So there's just There is a bulette, but it's made out of earth. That's they're trying to chomp at her. But missed. So
You're calling this bullet on us, dude. Stop.
it's my turn.
It becomes her turn, and she goes. She goes after Takio with the glaive. First attack. Ugh. I'm gonna need to use a reroll here. Come on, you can crit again. Nope. Second attack. It's not even worth it. Not gonna bother. She's just like feebly. She's so angry. She's like trembling as she's striking at you with this pole arm. But again, your speed has been established here. You're easily evading her attacks. And we got a donation here from Tux. Thank you so much. $25. I gotta pull up my extra life here so I can see what you redeemed. Buy a Ooh, okay. All right. Oh, another. Okay, we got a roll on the wild magic table is happening. That's Tux's, and then John Lindemuth has just redeemed by a monster. Okay. So let's resolve the wild magic here. Let's see, Ethan, can you roll me a D100? Oh, that John is also Tux. Got it. What did you roll? What was that? 100?
I rolled a 1, but it doesn't sound good.
Does the world explode?
Oh no!
Yeah, what happened?
Oh, it's regain all expended sorcery points, so that one doesn't work. Go ahead and roll it again.
Oh,
that's less.
Or you rolled a 100. Like how crazy is that? Improbable is that? I guess it's a 1 in 100 chance, huh?
Yeah.
Why don't
I can
you
roll it again.
No, why don't you come up with something? What happens? It's sort of like a latent effect of your spell that you just cast that created like a spectral boulette, but you're casting magic in this region where the Temple of Elemental Evil is, so there's like these ley lines that kind of cross in this region, and so spurts of wild magic are prone to happen here. So what do we think happens?
Oh man, I'm up for suggestions.
It'd be a real shame if something happened to the entire army outside.
I mean, you do also have a wandering monster that needs to come.
I do.
Yes, and I have been tempting fate with all of Maja's Bulette themed spells, so I don't know.
I'll throw a little something in on top of it.
Okay.
Okay, your size increases by 1 size category for the next minute. So, the big dwarf becomes large-sized. As you grow, you almost fill up this entire cavern. As your head is just like kind of peeking at the top of it. You're standing some maybe 9 feet tall at this point.
Oh yes. Not what I intended, but I'll take it.
That brings us to the top, and it's Tomarus's turn.
5, 10, 15, 20, 25. Going through Big Maja is difficult terrain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's 20 feet to go through you. I just stop there. As I go there, I'll grab my bow, and but I don't see any enemy, so I just ready the action.
Okay. So at this point, I'm gonna hand wave. I'm gonna assume that you do battle with Norgu. You're gonna, in this next route, deal with her. So we're gonna fast forward past that. You defeat her, but you can sense, you get this feeling that there's commotion happening outside, and it is not the chaos that you created earlier. It is the rallying of the troops around this demonic voice that they heard. You've got moments before they're probably going to come flooding in here, or at least some of them.
Thomas jumps in the room trying to find any map, document, anything that might be vaguely helpful.
Give me an investigation check.
Not my forte, but I will do.
Is there a back door out here?
Yeah, we found it previously. But my investigation check sucks, so can I... we don't have any rolls.
No
So
rerolls. How about Takio? Anything that you're doing in this this moment?
We'll search the Mad Dog and see if any paperwork is on him instead of in the room.
Sure. Give me an
Keep it.
investigation check. Mostly pawing through his stuff. Do you identify something that's useful in the moment?
I feel extremely inspired in this moment. I'm going to use my inspiration here.
All right.
I should have done that too.
He had a satchel that he was wearing, or a bag, where there's a bunch of scrolls and charts and such. As you kind of paw through it, you realize that there's like a kind of like a secret compartment inside there. You manage to like unbutton that, open that up, and grab an extra thing that was inside the satchel. Another sealed. Well, it's like a scroll. It's rolled up, but it's got like this seal that just has this kind of demonic-looking eye that's wreathed in flame as the wax symbol. And so you grab that as well. Grab all this stuff. Ethos, anything that you're doing. If not, that's okay too. If you're just kind of waiting for everyone else to.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to try to buy us some time. If there's a back door on here, then we got to get through it. And I'm going to cast darkness to cover the way into here.
Okay. Sounds good. So there's a sphere of magical darkness that blankets the entranceway in here. Might buy you a moment or two. Maja, anything that you're up to?
We are taking a back exit, right?
Yes, by the
What we
pudding.
can- Okay, excellent. I'm gonna walk over to where the darkness is, and can I cast Erupting Earth? I should display it. So, I don't know if I'm actually gonna hit any creatures. I mean, I might hit some of the dogs or something. But I'm trying to like cave in that area.
Okay. Give me an Arcana check on top of the spell. Maybe see how much can you push the limits of this spell to maybe create such a cave-in. All right, pretty good. So you cast this spell, and like the earth, you can't even really probably see it because of the darkness spell. You're casting it like in that darkness at the mouth, right? But you can hear it. You can hear the cracking of rock, the breaking of stone, and pretty soon you hear, and you start to see like dust, like stone debris kind of like filter up out of the smoke quite a bit. And so you think you've probably, if not entirely caved it in. Probably enough so that you've bought yourself significant amount of time.
Okay.
Because they're going to
Awesome.
probably have to be burrowing and moving rock to come in after you. And anything Vern wants to do?
Since the entrance is kind of blocked and stuff, I'll just, since Tamiria is right next to me, I'm gonna cast Cure Wounds on him at 3rd level.
Okay.
Thank you. He needs it. It's down 40 points.
Just had it. Here it is. Okay.
So, let you...
Do I click on him, or does it matter?
You're just going to roll it into the chat, and then he's going to have to apply it to himself. But while you're doing that, at some point here, you've bought yourself a significant amount of time. You're going to be able to make your way out. You've done what you came here to do. You killed both the number 1 and the number 2 Knoll, and you've recovered some documents that might be useful to the Righteous Host. And I'm just going to kind of fast forward. You know, there could be some encounters that you'd find as you're exiting here, but we're going to fast forward to, I'm going to bring you to where you would end up. Had you not bought yourself so much time, I would have probably used the fact that Maja was large as sort of a problem here, but the minute's going to pass and you're going to go back to being normal size. But you're going to find, basically, that there is a back way that Tomaris, had you succeeded earlier on your scouting mission around the hill, you would have found this. There is a back way on the hill that is sort of covered up. It would have been a little tricky maybe to find. There's a bunch of bushes and foliage that is put here to conceal this entrance, but from the inside going out, you easily find it and emerge on the other side. It is nighttime, but you've got the cover of darkness. You don't get the sense that a large number of troops are heading this way. At this point, what do you do? Is it trying to sneak out, or are you bolting and just trying to like get as far away from this place as possible?
I think we run.
We have the time on our side. We can get away with a little bit of a sprint.
Agreed.
Yeah, I think I can cast another Pass Without Trace just to cover a fast movement. And I think I can apply for the rest of each creature, you can choose with each creature, so I can cast it on the whole party.
Okay.
Plus 10 bonus dexterity, so that should help us.
And how long does Pass Without Trace last?
1 hour.
1 hour. Okay. All right. So you do that, and you with Pass Without Trace, you're going to be able to easily evade the patrols from the Knoll and human armies and make it out of here. However, after about 2 hours of traveling, as you're making your way back to camp, there's sort of a rumbling and a shaking, tremors in the ground. And you see this gigantic beak of this land shark emerge up and out of the earth and goes to...
So, the true battle begins.
The true battle... Here's the real big bad boss, right? So let's do this. Let me get... How many boulettes do I need?
17.
17?
86.
I think I need just one. I've got some that were purchased. I'm going to save those for tomorrow.
Aww.
You sure?
I'll use one of them. I'll use 2 of them tonight. So 2 land sharks. So this is out on the road. I'm not going to like put up a battle map or anything. We're going to theater of the mind this combat, but this is just like on your way. Boulettes definitely are creatures that the Earth Cult has domesticated, and so it could be that you just kind of came around kind of through their path, and these two things emerge. Two of them. One's gonna get a surprise attack on Takio, and one will get a surprise attack on Maja. Oh, jeez. How do I do this? There we go. Maybe? Is it rolling? Here, okay, here it goes. This one's on Takio. 27.
If 47 can hit me. Yeah, it's.
Oh, it looks like it was a crit even.
Yep. Holy cow! That's the 8th
41 points?
Are these considered magical?
No.
Good. That damage was reduced by 3.
And also give a strength or dexterity saving throw.
Strength or dex?
Yep.
Alright, strength saving throw it is.
Okay, no problem. Look at all these 20s. All right, this other one. So you managed to. The thing like pops up and like dives out down at you. It grabs hold and almost like rends your armor off of you, and you take a big piece of damage on your shoulder, but you stand tall.
I paid a lot of money for this armor, not to be ruined by a land shark.
And then a 20 to hit Maja.
Yep. It's...
Holy cow!
Oh, jeez.
Calm down, DM. Calm down.
That was more than the crit.
I told you it's the big bad at the end of the campaign.
43 points and then a strength or dex save.
Alright. Strength or dex save, huh? Let's do a dex.
All right, and you make it, so you are not knocked prone. Go ahead and roll some initiative, and we'll do this this battle to appease the audience for their donations. Thanks everyone for donating.
Uh-oh.
All right, so Tamaris, you are once again up at the top of the initiative order. What would you like to do?
I will use a bonus action to cast Hunter's Mark on the bullet nearest to me. And then I'll engage.
All right, 21 will hit.
And normal damage for 10 hit points.
And we'll say it's this one right here.
And then I will attack it again.
Don't forget your D6 from Hunter's Mark.
Oh, right. Okay, thank you. The second attack hits, I'm gonna roll the damage, and then I add the 2d6s together, okay?
Sounds good.
So, and then 2d6s coming. 1 and 1.
An additional 5. All
And
right.
then bonus action, I already took it, and then I will disengage with every remaining speed movement that I have, because I have 24 points.
All right,
Forget
sounds
your
good.
bosses, dude.
All right. So, one of the bullets, the one that attacked Maja, is kind of circling around you as it's kind of plowing through the earth. And it's going to go and try to take a second bite attack.
Uh-oh.
Ooh. I'm going to have to DM reroll. I'm down to my one reroll here. Ooh, an 11. I guess I got to double check because it's a wizard, but I'm assuming a miss.
It's, yeah, my AC is 15.
All right, so this thing is just kind of circling around you. Maybe it's just toying with you after it got that big hit, and it's just like doing a little Jaws thing around you. Vern, it is now your turn. Possibly muted.
Oh yeah, there we go. Thank you. I'd like to use one of my channel divinities, and then am I able to cast one of my first level spells that's a bonus action as well?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna Shield of Faith, Takio, or Samurai. So he's gonna +2 to his AC, and then I'm going to cast Preserve, or I'm gonna use my divinity, Preserve Life, and I'm gonna give 17 hit points to Mako, and then 17 hit points to Takio. So I get to divide up 35 hit points. So just each one will get 50-50 as long as it doesn't exceed half your hit points.
You may want to give that to someone else. I'll take the kind. Hold up. None of it. I'm fine. I don't need petty healing. I'm already at above half.
Okay, I'll give Takio 5 and then.
No, I'm already at half. I can't get any more.
Oh, you're already at half.
Thomas, mate, look at him, man. He is on death's door.
But here's the thing. With the cure giving me, the half point is only 60 points away. So if you give me 17, you waste a lot. So I mean, I'll take it, but
this is why no one plays a healer.
Yeah, right.
Trust me, I really appreciate it, but I physically cannot heal more.
Half its hit points. I gotcha.
Even when you want to help.
if you do it, I'll take the 60 points for sure.
I would give Mako the full because I don't know how far.
To get me to Maja, to get me to half, I need 17. So.
Okay, so there we go.
Sounds good. That's gonna bring us to Maja.
Okay. Can we target the bullets, or are they underground?
Right now they're above ground.
Right now they're above ground. Okay. She's gonna look at her focus, which is a fossilized stone, and she says, "Oh, looks like they want their egg back." And
what?
Gonna cast catapult at second level. And fire a boulder at the bullet that attacked me.
The one by you? Okay. Is that a dex save?
It is a dex saving throw.
Okay.
DC 15. It'll be 48 bludgeoning.
Oh. Not gonna make it. So how much? 48?
48. Yeah.
All right.
$15 bludgeoning.
Oh, 48. I got it. I thought you said 48, and I was like, oh my god, that spell is crazy.
48. 4d8.
Gotcha.
And then as a bonus action, I'm gonna Misty Step and move like over here.
Are you able to do that after casting catapult?
No, you're right. I can't. I can't. No. So I take that back. I'm just gonna stay right where I am. Thank you very much.
Becomes the turn of the other boulette that had tried to attack Takio. And it is going to try to grapple you. So strength or dex-based check to oppose that.
Your strength. This old man isn't fooling around.
Oh, I've got one last reroll. I am definitely going to use it on that. Come on, buddy. Just gets it. Grabs hold of you and dives down and burrows into the ground. That brings us to Ethos.
Okay, there's only one above ground now that I can see, right?
Yeah, there's one by Maja that's been kind of circling her.
All right. I'm going to cast Blight on it.
Okay. What do I need? A con save? Constitution save. All right. So he'll take half. Ooh. All right.
Wish I could have gotten the whole thing on it. Anyway.
All right.
I
Takio.
Can I do I'd like to do a bonus action to bring forth one of my tentacles again.
Sure.
If that's
Go ahead
possible.
and roll a d20.
Okay, should I do the damage then?
Roll a d. Did you roll a d20? You got to hit first.
All right.
Ooh, not gonna hit. So, brings us to Takio. You're in the mouth of the boulette. You're burrowing down underground. You're in its mouth. You're restrained.
You think you're stuck here with... I'm stuck here with you, or you're stuck here with me? Don't you know who I am?
Probably true with the way that you've been rolling.
So am I grappled and restrained, or what?
Yes. So if you're making attacks, you can make attacks at disadvantage, or you could attempt to escape if you wanted to.
Bonus action, I am going to second wind, because sounds like a very opportune time to do so. Where are you? Boop. So just gonna feel a little bit better by getting 17 hit points back. And I'm gonna kick a boule in the face and shove him off me.
All right. Sounds good.
Actually, hold up. Rephrase that. I will shove him. I will use my attack action to shove him 5 feet away from me. To break the grapple that way, if that makes sense.
Okay. Yeah. Sounds good.
I think I still do at disadvantage because grappled and shenanigans, but never know.
Wow. Look at that beautiful
Still
16,
make
19.
it. So you manage to grab its mouth and you get it open enough that you're able to slip out, and you just kind of shove down. Or push out of the way, and you're underneath the ground, and you're kind of stuck there.
There I am. I'll just claw my way back up if I can.
Okay. Gonna take you a little bit longer to do this, so you get maybe like halfway. You're just kind of like trying to like. There's a little bit of a tunnel, kind of, that it's burrowing, as it's burrowing through the earth. So you're just trying to like claw your way back up and out. You can see the starry sky as you're trying to pull yourself up, but you can feel the thing is probably going to be right on your heels.
The night is beautiful tonight. Sure it'd be a shame to die here in the ground with a land shark. That's it.
Tomarus?
Okay, so there's one blue. Is that the one that I casted?
It is not.
Okay, so it's another one. Okay, so I'll keep the concentration, but I cannot use it here. So I'll attack it.
That's a hit.
Is this bullet not at 40 points?
Correct. Yeah, so you can use your thing.
Okay, so 6 plus 1d8 is 9, and then second attack. Nope.
All right.
And then as a bonus action, I will use the offhand attack. $19.
That'll hit.
Okay, and so we'll add to the pool additional 8 points, and then I'll, move back as much as I can.
All right. It then becomes that very same Boulette's turn, and it's going to try to leap as a part of its movement as it moves after you. It leaps. This is coming for Tomarus. Thing is in the air, and it comes down 22 to hit.
And it hits.
Oops, sorry, skip that. Not that one. This one.
28 is
28.
still enough. 28 is still enough. I'm at 24, so I'm -4, so I'm down.
Down, okay. So you see the Boulette has got him down. It looks like it's looking covetous at his body. Vern, it is your turn.
Damn it all. How bad does that Boulette look? Does it look
pretty
like
bad.
It's injured at all,
It's
or
pretty injured.
pretty injured. All right, so I'd like to use my. Yeah. I'll use my inspiration. I'm gonna cast Guiding Bolt at level 4 on it.
Sounds good. All right, you got him.
Oh.
25.
And then bonus action, I can't do a first level, right? When you cast a normal spell.
Correct. Yeah.
Right. It's just cantrips after that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't have any bonus action cantrips, so. Okay.
All right. Next attack on this thing has advantage. Maja. And you might be muted.
Sorry. I'm gonna catapult another boulder at it. This time at first level. So it's a dex saving throw, DC 15.
Doesn't quite make it. Got a 14.
So it takes 3d8 bludgeoning. .15 damage.
And that's enough. That boulder, all this energy from the guiding bolt plus the boulder knocks this thing onto its back. And you can see it like get one last like breath of air before it falls and is lifeless. But that brings us to
It's
the
my turn.
other boulette under the ground at the heels of Takio. He's going to make a bite attack from behind. And why are you not working? Try that again. Oh, that's sad. Ethos, it is your turn.
So I can't see the other boulette.
Yeah, it's down in the hole. There's like a hole there where the thing burrowed down. And you can kind of see, like 10 feet down is Takio trying to like claw himself up.
So I can't see the boulette at all.
Correct.
Well, I'm going to I'm going to go to the hole and throw a rope down to help him get out.
All right. Give me a strength check.
This is not going to go well.
You manage to he throw the rope down. Takio, I'm assuming you want to grab hold of that.
I don't wish to be in this hole any longer than I have.
You get lifted up. Ethos just kind of wills it, puts all of his strength into it, and he pulls you up out of the hole. It is then your turn, Takio.
Bastard. He was going to teach him a lesson or two. He's just gonna raise his sword, just the second he comes up, he's cleaving him.
Sounds good. Let's just let's skip ahead to that. Let's assume that you all have like a ready attack for when this thing emerges. And let's start with you, Takio.
I'll be it's just a held action, so I'll just get one. Great weapon fighting. Normal.
You got him? All right, so the boulette emerges up. It looks like it was getting ready to do another, like, dive onto one of you, but you're all ready for it this time. Takio, you go ahead and you take the big swing. You cleave a big wound across its chest. Tomarus, what would your what action would you be taking as it emerges up?
Oh no, I'm down.
Oh, you're down. Okay.
I'm
Vern.
I'd probably I was gonna healing word to Maris, but he's gonna be okay. He can make a death saving throw. So
that's a very cleric thing of you to say.
I'm kind of a dick, Eric. Sorry.
That's okay.
Actually, he's gonna do his breath weapon.
Okay. So a Constitution saving throw, right?
Yeah. Should be 13. There you go. That son of a bitch.
Okay. Well, he'll still take half.
Oh. There we go.
All right. And let's see, Ethos, a readied action that you would have had maybe to prepare for the boulette's emergence.
Toll the dead.
Toll the dead. That's also wisdom save, I think.
Yes.
Okay, he's gonna fail that.
2d12s.
2d12s. It'd actually be d12s because he's injured.
Well, wasn't that it?
Well, that's a pretty... No, those were d8s, but...
Okay,
I mean, I like the 7-7, but technically to the 12s.
All right. In that case, there we go.
All right, it
It's
was
like it's
14
meant to
after
be.
all.
It has to be 14.
And let's see, Maja.
I'll just catapult another boulder at it.
Yes. So
Yeah.
dex save.
DC. Yep, 14.
And fails.
So
And that's gonna be enough. Go ahead. What do we see as this final spell of the session here gets cast?
I mean, I think this is a combo hit right now. It's probably gonna, as the Bulette comes out, Takeo like stabs it right through, which is just enough power to get. Let's see, what was everyone doing again? I think it's just gonna be a combo hit. Like, yeah, Takeo spears it, and then everyone's just like all at once, just pummels it right off the sword.
Awesome. And with that, all of that damage on this thing that was actually its attack was directed at you, Maja. You managed to fell it, and it drops before mid-air, in mid-leap, before it could quite connect. This attack only hastens your desire to get back to the camp, get back to where the army is at, and so you make haste, and you make it back to where the righteous host is at. You manage to bring the plans, the things that Takeo had recovered off of the body of the leader of the Knolls, and they're going to be looking over that here yet this evening. Hey, thanks for the follow, White Snake 64. Appreciate that. Thanks for stopping by the stream here tonight. And so the information that you've brought back is going to be valuable. And in fact, the group that picks this up tomorrow night is going to be dealing with some of what you have brought them. What they're going to learn is that the leadership of the cult was already looking to supplant the Knoll, and they're bringing in a heavy to sort of take command of the armies, and so that person has not arrived yet, and so there's going to be a little bit of an ambush kind of scenario, try to take this person out before they can get to the armies as they're making their way forward. So that'll be the scenario tomorrow night. Yeah, hopefully y'all had fun. A little bit of a
Absolutely.
infiltration mission. You did very well against these big enemies, and yeah, somebody said level 7 characters are hard to kill. Well, I had them started out, they would have been level 5, but donations were raised, and so enough donations were raised to allow them to be level 7. So thanks everyone who donated. You helped them perhaps make sure that this was a victory a little bit. So thanks everyone for donating. We got 1,200 raised here so far tonight. So we raised 200 during the stream here tonight, and we got one more game that will be coming up tomorrow night. New group of characters and a new mission. So I don't know. Any last thoughts or words from anybody before we take the stream offline here?
No, good game.
Thank you, guys.
Great game. So
To everyone who
It was
donated.
a lot of fun. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Kogo
Yeah.
probably should have donated a little bit more.
You think so? Yeah.
Like, you
We
should
need
have.
more
Like,
bullets.
I mean, everyone else did really, but Corey, you got to really up your game here.
I just feel bad I didn't give him very good return on investment because a lot of those rerolls were just not good.
Yeah, you had like a couple 1s and 2s right in a row.
So many. That's the way it goes. So I've seen it happen to the players as well. So
One of the reasons why we were able to survive.
we'll throw a raid over to some new folks. Behold Roleplay. We'll go see what they're all up to. Say hi. Make their night a little special with a raid. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you all soon.